this question needs to be asked. You know, how do we get from the mindset of we're going to open a judo club, we're going to charge people only $20, we're barely going to make enough money to keep the lights on, everybody's a volunteer, and you're not prepping people to take over the program, so then when the sensei gets 70 years old, nobody wants to take it over because it's free work, and like it actually costs you money to run the club. You know, so what are some ways do you think that we could start changing the mentality of judo as far as that? And do you think that that's the way that judo is going to survive, or do you think that, you know, the cheaper the better is going to last?
No, cheaper the better is the worst idea ever. You
right.
know? And judo should be free is like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. You know? The guys dedicate their whole lives. Why do we value anything that's free?
No.
You know, we go to the store down the street. You know, I know I can go to Saiget and get a freaking $18 sandwich. It's delicious. You go to a bodega and they charge you $4. You wonder, like, you know, what is this thing? I'm not eating this thing, right? That's just like a classic New York value example. You know, same thing in judo. A lot of these clubs sort of compete on price, and then it's a race to the bottom, as always. And you know, you don't want to compete on price. And I'm not saying price fix and then say everyone charges this much, but there should be a standard, right? And if you develop a skill throughout your life and you're providing value to the people, and providing a service to the people, you should be able to charge for that. And, you know, I think one of the things that a lot of these guys have this mentality of volunteer mindset. It's like you can make money. You can have a pretty lucrative career teaching judo, having your own club. You know, and there's judo, teaching judo, and business. You know? And it needs to be the integration of all three, because you could be really, really, really good at judo. I know guys who are unbelievable judo, you know, can't communicate and can't teach for anything. You know, they're half autistic, half like, they're just in their own mind. And they're a savant, but they can't transfer any of that knowledge. Well, what use is that to anyone in the whole world? You know, like, there's no use for that, right? There's no value for that, right? And then, you know, maybe you're a great communicator, but you're a terrible businessman, you know? And then the place is dirty, people don't get the thing, and then there's no billing, and that's not going to work either.
No.
You know, so I think getting the word out there that, like, you know, you can have a successful business and you can do what you love and live that dream, I think is the biggest piece.